go live on YouTube. That's basically just the backup recording in case anything happens to the main Zoom one.
I like it.
And you know that Zoom makes the videos, it's got smart technology and it makes it better and resizes people differently and all sorts of things. Yeah. So, right, we're ready to go.
Thin, I'm happy.
Yeah, you always like handsome, Joey.
Okay,
always
that's what I want to hear. Even if it's a lie, that's what I want to hear.
Right, so I'm just going to start the show and then pass the mic over to Joey. You can ask Peter what he's all about, and behind, you know, the order of the songs: The Cold, then Playing in the Yard, then The Moon, and I'll be here at the ready. So let's start recording. 1, 2. Hi, and welcome to the third episode of the Music Mentor podcast. With your main host is Joey Stuckey. I'm the co-host here, Sparky. Episode 3 today, represented by Peter, is Fourth Son South. But that's enough of my Scottish accent. I'm going to pass the mic to Mr. Stuckey here. Joey?
Thank you so much, Sparky. I appreciate it. It's always a privilege and a pleasure to be in your company. And it's great to get a chance to visit with Peter. We've connected a few times on various programs and heard a lot of his music. But today we're going to dive deep into all about his music, and it's really incredible stuff. Peter, welcome to you.
Thank you, Joey. Well, I'm excited.
Well, listen, you've got a lot of amazing things happening with your music. And I guess the first thing that we should talk about is where you're located and how that has an impact on the kind of music that you play.
Well, I'm located in South Africa. Personally, I don't see that of any influence in the music I do make. I'm originally from the Netherlands. I moved here 20 years ago, and have been making music.
Yeah, and you do music full time?
Yeah,
that is incredible. You know, that is a real dream for so many people, and it's so hard to make that transition from loving music, creating music, but actually having a career in music. That's a tricky thing. And I talk about that a lot with my clients and students and all the people that I interact with. And it's really a challenge. And I find that the most, at least for me, the thing that really helps you make that transition is just persistence and determination. Just keep on keeping on, And tell me a little bit about, do you have your own recording studio or do you record somewhere? Because one of the things, we're going to listen to some amazing music in a minute. But one of the things I've noticed is how consistent the recording quality is, and it's consistent with a certain style and a certain, a certain feel that is consistent from track to track. And I think that's really important because sometimes if you go to one studio, it sounds a little bit this way. You go to another studio, it sounds a little bit that way. But you have managed to really capture who you are, and it comes through every time. Tell me about that process.
All right. During the pandemic, well, basically you are being told, well, dude, you're not going to do anything for the next foreseeable time. Also, you're not going to make money for the foreseeable time. Have a nice life. Which was here the lockdown started, I think, like a week before our first EP was being released, which brought in that little bit of extra, like, oh, and by the way, your EP I don't think is gonna get much attention because, well, you can't do anything.
Right.
So after that initial shock, and okay, well, what are we gonna do now? One of the things I did was to see what my options were for recording, and well, it started basically with writing songs because, hey, I had all the time in the world. So I was busy writing songs, and I was used to creating a demo version at home.
Right.
And so then it was, okay, what can I do to improve that quality? And thank goodness, well, I borrowed a couple of things, and the rest is the improved technology that we have nowadays. So at home, I now can record properly bass, vocals, guitars. For drums, I still have either the choice of using Chinese drums, in other words, program drums,
Right.
which I did on the second song that we're going to hear, playing in the yard. The others, we did record the drums in another studio. Mixing and mastering, even though on the playing in the yard, because that was done during the lockdown, I did that whole album completely by myself.
Wow.
So that one I also did mixing and mastering myself. The Cold and the Moon, the other band members were also invited to come and record here, and I did send the songs out for mixing and mastering, not because I don't believe in my own capabilities, but it's more to avoid bias, which I am very scared of. It's your baby, so you are so biased. So I sent that off to someone else. Of course, then you still keep a big finger in the pie to say, no, but I do like to hear it like this. I do want to sound it like that. But then at least it has the thumbs up from someone who knows more about mixing and mastering than I do.
Well, you're really right, and you're really wise to have a second pair of ears, because you're right. I mean, this is like from your heart, from your very soul, and it's hard to divorce yourself emotionally from it and just think totally critically. That's tough. And so I believe in that too. I have very few people's opinions that that affect me, let's say. And so I do have 3 people that I'll use on occasion if I feel like in my heart, because I mix, master, and record, session musician, all that stuff for a living. And so I'm doing a different project every day. But if I ever have on my own stuff, if I ever have a question in my heart about, is this where it needs to be, then I'll send it to a second pair of ears and say, hey, what do you think? Listen to it for 30 seconds and tell me what you hear. And then I see then I know if I'm like, okay, I'm good, or I'm not good. And we had a similar experience with COVID. I think probably everyone in the music business did. We just played the world famous Whiskey a Go Go to a packed house. That was the conclusion of our 2019 tour, the beginning of 2020 tour, and we were so excited. We had worked really hard to get to a place like that, really venue with a lot of history and a lot of gravitas, and then all of a sudden, boom, everything was just dead. So it has been very hard to make things work for us, especially generate revenue and things like that with the pandemic. But I have been really impressed at how most everyone I've spoken to has taken that time to do something positive and creative. I took that time to lose 90 pounds. So that was my big pandemic project. Was to lose. I still need to lose like 60 more, but hey, but it's good that we're back in the saddle again and playing again. And so tell me a little bit, if you don't mind, before we listen to the first song, tell me a little bit about your band members and their contributions, and what you guys are doing as far as live music.
All right. As I said, playing in the yard, I did all the instruments and vocals, but thank goodness I do have a band. And the band has undergone a couple of changes over the past, actually also since the pandemic. So I have my drummer, Carl, And he also does vocal harmonies. I have a second guitarist. I myself do guitar and vocals. A second guitarist, Dale, and he opted. I don't want a microphone. He does it with another band, but with us, no. Carl's brother, Bernard, plays bass, and I recruited him I think about a year ago when my longtime bass player decided he did not have the time anymore to do this all the time, and he could not just bring up the energy to give it what it should have. And Carl said, well, my brother is technically not really a bass player. He's been playing, but he's a very good musician and he's got fantastic vocals. And that is what I then already had in mind. I want vocals. I want harmonies. So I got him in, and basically on the songs that I've written, that I had written and written since, I just write the bass line and I say, okay, learn this, which he has been doing. And our latest band member is the female vocalist, Sarah, who has been part of the band since September. We had a previous single where we had a guest vocalist, and even though she did not want, it was nice for a single, but she did not want to be part of the band. But by then I love this interaction of male and female vocals. And so now we have 4 guys who potentially sing, and that gives a lot of possibilities.
Yeah, you know we're going to listen to some music in just a second, but the reason I was asking about that is I was so excited by the sheer volume and beauty of all the vocals on these tracks and all the harmonies and all the layers. And I think you're doing something, you know, really smart from a lot of different directions. Artistically, it's what you want, but also we have some scientific data that proves that sometimes if you have the same voice singing, you know, or speaking for long periods of time, people start to tune out. And that's one of the reasons that you may hear some commercials that have a male voice and a female voice. It's not even necessarily because they want different perspectives, but they're just trying to mix it up and keep people interested and keep people getting too complacent and you're listening. So that's really smart to keep people's attention that way. Also, it sounds so great, and artistically, you know, it sounds amazing. So I love that you did that. So let's go ahead and dive into the music, and we'll start with The Cold, right? That's what we're doing.
The Cold.
So, yes. So we'll check that out, and then we'll talk about it on the other side.
Without further ado, let's go with track 1 of 3, 4 Sun South with The Cold. Enjoy, ladies and gentlemen.
Our darkest day, the day so dark. sun will shine, but I'll stay inside. And maybe when all is gone, I won't have to hide. The light will come again. 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 My skin is frozen. There was so much of all that we wanted. Who is to judge? Let the sun shine. Let the sun shine. Let the sun shine. Let it touch. Let the sun shine. Let the sun shine. Let the sun shine. Let it touch.
Absolutely fantastic.
Wasn't it just? Joey, take the mic
Yeah.
back. Peter, you know how much I love you, brother. Just wow.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And there's so many things I like about that track, and I'm going to be a little bit nerdy about this, but I love, I really love the interplay between the drums and the bass guitar. The groove that's set up there is impeccable, and that's really important. And it's playing the kick drum and the bass guitar are what we call coupled, and they are complementing each other, and that's really beautiful to hear, because that's a lot of times that just doesn't happen, and it can really, something really that simple can make a difference, and you're just grooving right along to the song, and then the song comes up a notch and kind of wakes you up a little bit, and when it says the light will come again, that's great stuff. I really love that. And I also love on the vocal how we have some really nice high notes as the song fades out, just a little something different to catch your ear as the song's fading away. I really love those two things.
Yeah, that was something, Sarah, because I normally write the complete vocal arrangements, but
Yeah.
she had, no, I want to do something special.
Yeah.
Well, go for it.
Absolutely. And it's just so nice to hear that last little note as you're kind of fading away. I love that a lot. And the other thing you did that was really interesting to me was you start off with the full snare drum, and then kind of midway through the verse, it moves to the side stick with a rim shot, which I think
Rim shots, yeah.
Yeah, and what I like about that is that it makes room for the extra backing vocals that are coming in there. And so it really helps those stand out without being loud. So there's some really great production arrangement things, happening. Now, what genre of music did you say that you are? Tell me what kind of music you say this.
According to our promoter, we are indie pop rock. And I think there was something else also, but yeah.
So I mean, I don't disagree with it. I mean, there's some wonderful, when we say pop, at least people in the business, not necessarily fans or listeners, but when we say pop, what that means really is that the music is accessible. It's got lyrics and melodies that you can easily learn after you've heard the song once and sing along to. They make sense. They're accessible. They're not very difficult to remember. They're pleasing to the ear, and they're catchy, And so that's when I say pop, when most people in the industry say pop, that's what it means. So definitely pop rock I can see. But it reminds me of some of the peak times in the 90s of alternative rock. When we had some really amazing bands, out there doing some amazing work. And the reason I mention this is not that the music sounds dated in any way, because it doesn't. But one of the things I like to talk about in this show is sources of revenue for artists, so that you can keep making the amazing art that you're making. And one of the things, if you haven't pursued it, and maybe you have, I don't know, but film and television placement, because this music is perfect for film and TV. And a lot of times, they love, if they're doing period pieces, they love music that has a nod, back to the 90s. Your stuff still sounds very contemporary and makes sense today, but it also has a bit of a homage or a nod to some of the 90s music that I've loved so much, just in like the guitar tones and stuff like that. So anyway, if you haven't done film and TV, you really, really should. And I can tell you, as someone that pursues film and TV placements, what you have is film and TV gold. It really, really is. And you should definitely like start hitting up music supervisors and showing them your stuff, because they could use it a lot.
Okay, Joey. If you have the potential possibility and context of doing so, then we should have a talk. Yes, because
we'll talk. We'll talk.
Man, I'm a songwriter and I'm a performing artist, and of course, what do you want?
Exactly.
I want to pay the rent, and if there's a possibility to have good earnings out of a song, other than the 0.5% I'm currently getting from Spotify,
Don't get me started on that.
then yes, I would love to, but basically I don't know the way. And if you have that possibility, then yeah, we will talk.
Yeah, we'll talk. What I'll share just very briefly for other artists that are watching the show. Essentially, there's a lot of ways to pitch for film and TV placement. What you have is someone called a music supervisor, and they're responsible for finding, clearing, and paying people for the music. So what's happened in the last 20 years is that rather than spending several $100,000 on a film composer, they thought, hey, independent artists are out there with these amazing songs, and they've already spent all the money creating them. So we can simply license them at a third the cost. It's good for the independent artists because it gives them lots of exposure, but also gives them money. And the fees range from $100 if it's like on a radio in the background of the scene, or a bar band playing in the background. It might be $100. It might be 50,000. It might be 100,000. It just depends. I mean, you can make some serious cash, and if you get enough of them going, it takes, like anything else, it takes time to make it happen. But that's one of the things. So these music supervisors are who you want to talk to. But basically, the one piece of advice I'll make public, and as I say, we'll speak in more detail later, but make sure when you create your MP3s that you tag them well with lots of metadata. So, male vocal, male and female vocal, or style, the year it was created, include your lyrics, have all these things tagged. So when you start talking to music supervisors, they can at a glance really figure out if it's right for something they're working on, and they give it a listen. And then the second thing I'll say is make sure you mix and master an instrumental version of every song, because a lot of times they'll cut between the full version and an instrumental version. Like if they have talking on top of it, they don't want to, sometimes the vocal might interfere with that. So just make sure you have that instrumental available. And so I will say this, in my experience, the not having an instrumental available is not a deal breaker if they love your song, but having one available makes them want to work with you more, because it makes their life easier. And these people are some of the hardest working people you'll ever meet. And the minute they take a job on a film, they're already 6 months behind. So anyway, just a little delve into film and TV placement. Anyway, I loved all of that, as I said, and I do think there's some wonderful pop sensibilities. Let's go ahead and check out this next song. Now, the next one, that you, if I remember correctly, we were just saying earlier that you played all these instruments. This is all you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I programmed the drums, but all the other instruments I played. Yeah.
And I love that you're getting such great guitar sounds and such great vocal sounds from home. These days, you really can do that. And as you mentioned earlier, the real trick are like horn sections, string sections, drums, live drums. Those become a little bit more difficult to capture well at home. But if you program the drums and you're good at that, then you can do that too. So let's go ahead and listen to this track, which is Playing in the Yard, right? So
That's correct.
yeah, we'll listen to this one, and then I'll tell you how great it is on the other side.
Okay.
Without further ado, Playing in the Yard by Four Sons South. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. One love.
All this time, the clouds are still there. And though the wind may blow, they hang in the air. All the episodes showing the way, the bruise printed underneath probably will stay. Playing in the yard, starting at the source. Playing in the yard, I follow my own course. Playing in the yard, it's time to find a key. It's time to spread your cheer, no matter what they see. In your mind, you always lost the race. You can swim above the trees, it's what you have to face. In the light, you are what you bring. Your voice may be different, but you can always sing. Playing in the yard, starting at the source. Playing in the yard, I follow my own course. Playing in the yard, it's time to find a key. It's time to spread your cheer, no matter what they see. Playing in the yard, starting at the source. Playing in the yard, I follow my own course. Playing in the yard, it's time to find a key. It's time to spread your cheer, no matter what they see.
Just a little wow factor for me there. Honestly,
Yeah.
Pink Floyd-esque. Joey, take the mic, brother.
Yeah. I mean, it's it's a blues rock masterpiece. It really is. And again, I'm gonna nerd out a minute. One of the things I like best is the guitar using a technique we call passing minor, which is where the bass line starts off with, let's say, A minor. It starts off with an A and walks down by half step. Dee da dee da dee da. So it does that, and meanwhile, it's keeping two common tones in the same two tones on the higher strings at the same time, and that's a beautiful technique. You hear it a lot in like Latin jazz, but you don't hear it very much in rock or blues. So it's really nice to hear that. It has such a beautiful melodic content. And the other thing is, I want to say, I love everything about this song, but I adore these vocals, especially when you sing "I Follow My Own Course." I mean, that's some mean vocals right there. And I love the grit. It's just so good. And it's like dirty, but it's clean. So it's done really, really well. Tell me a little bit about. I mean, again, you played all that stuff. So this is a chance for other people watching to learn a little bit, which is part of my goal as well. So tell me what amps and what plugins and stuff you're using on the song, because you were a one-man band and produced something that sounds commercial and ready to go. So what was this process like for you?
I have not used a single amp on actually on all three songs. This is a guitar straight into the computer, and now I must. Yeah, I will. I will have a look later, because I always forget the name of the plugin that I use.
But you're just going straight into your interface and throw a plug in.
It goes straight into the interface, and let me see if I can. No, this. Because I know I have the same. The reference at least to the app on my cell phone as well. Well, it doesn't really matter if I Tonebridge.
There you go. All right, good to know. And I love this. I mean, they sound great.
Yeah, it was really. I had okay. I cannot blast the Valve amp open because. Yeah, you will get problems with the neighbors.
Yeah, people will not be happy with you.
No.
That's the one advantage of the studio. I can crank it as loud as I want.
So I discovered that app, and I was blown away by the possibilities and how much technology has improved on modelers, because I tried them before and I was never a fan.
Right, I agree.
And I now had this is as good or better than any of the live sounds that I create.
Yeah.
And as a result, I'm now using a Helix live as well, because now I have these great. I've made these songs with fantastic guitar sounds. I want those. I want those sounds live as well.
Absolutely, I don't blame you. And so I mean, all the guitarists sounded great. There's a good sense of space. I also am really impressed with the vocals on two fronts. First of all, the mic was placed in the right place at the right distance. That all sounds really good. And there was good signal to noise ratio, which means that you had it loud enough to cover any system noise, and it was low enough that it didn't distort or clip. And that sounded fantastic. And what mic are you using at home? Because the people should know.
This is nothing. It's actually the one I'm using right now. It's a Behringer.
There you go. And people give Behringer some grief, but they make some amazing products for very little money. I mean, it's just
for those that can see, I'm placing it in front of the mic right now, in front of the camera.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
well, they need to get endorsement from Behringer because you did a great job. You sounded so good on that tape, man. You should send that song to them and say, "I used your mic.
It's-
Give me some free stuff."
Okay, this mic has been used on all the recordings, on all the vocals that you hear tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds fantastic. You know, the other thing I'd like to compliment you on, I love the fact that there's a sense of space in the recording, but you're not drowning the vocal in reverb because that's, you know, when I look back at some of my older recording, I go, oh, well, it was the 90s. We used a lot of reverb. But I just love the fact that you're getting a lot of space, but your vocal doesn't sound over processed, and it just really has a beautiful spiritual connection with that vocal. And part of that, obviously, most of it is your performance, but part of it is that you're allowing the vocal to kind of sound intimate, and so there's not like overwhelming amounts of reverb, which is good. That was a good call, so I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
it's in general, I use a little bit of reverb and a little bit of delay on the vocals.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
What I love about this track, though, it's apart from I wrote this song for my sister, and so it's personal. Yeah, no, my sister, she always had the feeling that she was not good enough, and okay, so that's what this song is all about. For those who are interested. One other song, one other point of this song that, Joey, I'm a bit disappointed that you didn't point out the counterpoint of the guitar and the bass.
Oh, I was not. I was thinking so much about the vocal, I forgot.
So basically, whilst the guitar is going down, the bass comes up.
That is true. That is true, and it works really, really well. It works really, really well. And again, I just think I also love all the placements of the toms and where they come in. They come in at impactful moments.
I had not heard the song for a while because we have the song regularly in the live set, and I must say the vocals have improved dramatically because it's now both Sarah and myself sing it simultaneously with the harmony. And that's so much nicer, and of course with real drums. And I've now heard it. Yeah, okay. The song itself is still good, but I like it better how it is now.
Oh, I understand what you're saying. I would love to hear it the way it is. So that's our next thing, is to come see you play live. So as soon as I can figure out how to FedEx myself to where you are, because I'm gonna need a pillow and some food. But as soon as I figure that out, I'm gonna come see you play live. Let's go into our final track, and this is, if I am not mistaken, this is one of your newest compositions. Yeah,
this one was released this month.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
The 5th.
Okay, yeah. So The Moon. Tell me a little bit about the song, and then we'll play it and talk some more about it on the other side.
Well, there's two things. I started this song that I had the idea, I really want to start a song off with vocal, and immediately followed by an enormous orchestra of vocals. And the rest was basically musically put together as I write all my songs. It's basically, you have it grows, and you have a movement here, and we have a move. Oh, that will go together. Nice. Lyrics. I was at some point watching something about all the effects that the moon has on humans, and it determines our moods and our love life and our future and whatnot. And then there was somebody else that, yeah, but the moon is just a ball in the sky, and you are responsible yourself for everything that happens in your life. And I thought, no, well, let me play those two sides against one another in those lyrics. And then it was lyrics, and then and then I wrote the arrangement for the vocals.
I have to say that I count on a high degree of delusion to function every day. So I would love to blame all my problems on the moon. I would love to. And my wife lets me think I'm in charge, and that's. I mean, I know deep down it's not true, but I'm okay with being lied to. It helps me get through the day. Let's listen to the moon and the juxtaposition here, and then we'll talk about it more on the side.
All right.
Without further ado, For Sun South with the Moon, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy.
Where have the times gone? And where are we now? Here. As the sun goes down and the dark comes in, I can feel it creeping under my skin. So I close my eyes, listen to my heart. Senses overload, I feel I fall apart. Mirror of the night, my divine and truth, the possibility for eternal youth. So we keep our faith as we're coming near, making consciousness we shed our inner fear. And the moon is just a ball in the sky, she doesn't care at all. She will leave without saying goodbye. She knows that it is not her call. And the moon is just a ball in the sky. She doesn't care at all. She will leave without saying goodbye. She knows that it is not her call. And they'll never get a second chance. Maybe in another lifetime. And the moon is just a ball in the sky. She doesn't care at all. She will leave without saying goodbye. She knows that it is not her call. And they'll never get a second chance. Maybe in another lifetime.
What a track!
Wow.
I mean, I think that Brian May and Freddie Mercury would be very proud of that. There was some
Ooh.
amazing lead guitar work there. The wall of vocal harmonies there, beautiful. The chord progression's awesome. The lyrics great. This I have to say, I love all the songs, I really do, but this one is my personal favorite. And I believe, for whatever it's worth, it's a hit in the making. People just need to hear it. And then Peter can get real rich, and then he can fly me down to see him play live, so I don't have to FedEx myself. You know, because I don't want to be hot. That's what I worry about. But seriously, I adore this tune. I think it really shows a progression. I mean, a progression. I mean, I think that's some of the finest songwriting. You know, just how everything works together. It's beautiful. It moves along. And again, it's easy to sing along to, and I'm just so proud of what you have done. And Now, this is your newest song, but is there an album coming with this, or is this just going to be a single, or what's happening next?
I do get this question a lot. We've got more songs. We've recorded a couple of them already. And I'm still in two minds because nowadays music is consumed per song. And I see it. We've released one full album and 2 EPs, and of those several singles. And if I look at the figures, then you see that the singles are being consumed, and the other songs a lot less. For example, Playing in the Yard was not a single, and it was highlighted in one review as possibly the best song of that album. But it was too long for a single, and my promoter is very much dude, if you go towards the 4 minutes, then we're already in murky waters, and this one is I think it's 4.5 minutes, so there's no way that is going to be a single. And I hate it because I love writing. Writing singles is one thing, and where you bear in mind it must be accessible, and it must be not too long. It must be long enough. It must have this, it must have that, and both The Cold and the Moon are examples of that. But I like writing other songs as well that might not be as radio friendly, or might be longer, or might have other things in it that are that dismisses them for being a single, but they complement the rest of your songs.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in the live sets, they work fantastic.
Sure. Well, it's interesting you mentioned it, because we have, with digital technology and downloadable, music, we have gone back to what they had in the 50s, 60s of a single economy. I mean, Beatles had several of their biggest songs were never on any of their albums. And so you had, same thing with James Brown, or anybody you want to mention. So there was a single economy, and people did albums, but the singles were the big sellers. And then of course the trick there, the problem is, from a digital marketplace perspective, which is what you really have to consider, the singles are what makes sense. But when it comes to radio promotion, what I should say is long-term radio promotion, at least here in the States, the album is more favored. And then of course, when you're at gigs trying to sell merchandise, it's kind of hard to sell singles and CDs. It financially just doesn't make good sense, really. So, you can sell download cards and stuff like that. But anyway, it's a very difficult decision to make. And you're right, you have to look at the numbers and say, okay, what's working? That's where I have to focus my attention. And it's kind of sad because artistically, it may not be quite as satisfying. Because you're right, you can have a group of songs that make sense together and tell a bit of a story. And you lose that perspective, or you lose that opportunity sometimes when you can't put it out on a record.
I mean, I'm already at a point that pressing a CD is hardly viable. I sell probably 10 times as many shirts as I sell CDs.
Me too.
Well, dude, we don't have a CD player anywhere. Some people still have one in the car, but
you're totally right.
It's sad, but these are the times that we live in, and
you just gotta do what you gotta do. Well, speaking of doing what we gotta do, before we conclude our show today, we've got Sparky has this amazing team that he's put together called Sparky's 100 Years of Experience that we want to bring onto the program now. And I'll let him explain two of my favorite people, as a matter of fact, but I'll let Sparky explain a little bit about that.
Well, without further ado, first of all, I'd like to tell Peter, you know how much I love you. You're a world-class band. Everybody must hear Fourth Son South.
Yeah.
And who has my 100 years worth of experience is Steve Andrews, aka Greenbeard, and Mark Story, aka Redbeard. They've both been in the music industry for 50 years, and they're both my right-hand men. So I have 100 years worth of experience. Mr. Greenbeard, what was your thoughts here on Fourth Son South there, dude?
I'll tell you what, I thought those were absolutely top quality songs in so many ways. And the first song, Cold, I think it was called, what to me that I really liked, it had an anthemic quality. There was a kind of a sing-along with, the bit about the light has come again. And that bit, that kind of stuck. And I could imagine a crowd singing along with that. If you were on a big stage and you had all your fans there, they knew the song, they would want to sing with that. That's
Yep.
what's about that one for me. And with the other song, with Playing in the Yard, I just thought that was a great title. And I'll tell you what, this is in all your songs. You've got fantastic lyrics. They're interesting songs. They're not just the usual, blah, blah love songs or whatever. They're songs with depth in your lyrics. And that comes over. And then the last song is actually a really good example of that. The song about the moon, and you were explaining it, but that's an interesting song. And all the songs, top quality production, fantastic vocals, fantastic guitar, all of it worked really well. And so, that's what I'd say about it. All top quality work.
Thank
Steve,
you,
I gotta
Steve.
tell you, Steve, I gotta tell you that I now am going to write a song, patent pending, called Blah Blah Love Song. That is now my new. that is now mine. You have gifted that to me through the ether. So not to take away from Peter, but I just want you to know I'm going to write a song, Blah Blah Love Song.
Brilliant, lads.
I might do the same.
All right. Well, hey, we'll work on it together.
Hey,
There you go.
Captain Greenbeard to Captain Redbeard, what was your thoughts here, Mr. Story?
Hello, Peter. Hello, Joey. Hello, Sparky. Hello, Steve. How you
Hello,
doing?
Mark.
Hello there, Peter, me old mate. Yeah, well, me and Steve have got 50 years experience between us. Steve's living in a mansion in Portugal, and I'm living in a dustbin. So, so one of us got it right. So, no, I'll be serious. The thing is that I've noticed that since doing these podcasts is that you get to be introduced to artists that you get to hang around, like, you know what I'm saying, like on a regular basis. So if someone just puts a YouTube video on Facebook, you could either click on it or not click on it. But in this situation, the first song I recall hearing of yours was, unless I'm very much mistaken, I can't remember what it was called, but the video was in a forest or among trees. Am I right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I remember that. Yeah, that's the first song I ever heard from you. And obviously, as time's progressed, I've heard more of your stuff because we're mates, right? And we're all in this family together. So it's my, it's my, not my duty. Duty is not the word. It's my pleasure to explore what artists are coming up with. Yeah? And as I've got more and more accustomed to your sound, what I've noticed is that, first of all, I think you've got a really unique sound. I mean, seriously, there's probably comparisons there, but I can't find them. It sounds like Fourth Son South. You've got this kind of way of writing songs that don't sound like anyone else, but have got this kind of unique sound. And the more songs I hear, The Cold and the Moon particularly, there's so many gold nuggets in your tunes, like the guitar solos and the vocals. There's always something to listen to that keeps you, engrossed. And you don't take it all in first time round. Obviously, you know how it feels, yeah. But as I've got to know you and your band and the music, and also the other people in the family, and I've watched the development, and I've seen the ideas and things like that, You know, I mean, I think you're just doing everything right. And more power to you for it. I love the stuff. I think it's great. It's nice to listen to. It's not too bombastic, but it just keeps you entertained, and that's the main thing. So yeah, it's good, man. I love what you do. It's cool stuff.
Thank you,
And your
Mark.
vocals, and the guitar playing, especially. I mean, the vocals are very upfront, so you tend to notice the vocals more. But your guitar playing, the more I hear your guitar playing, the more not amazed, but the more I really enjoy it, the more I think, wow, this guy can really let rip. So yeah, man, it's cool. It's all really good. It's all really good. But I live in a dustbin, so don't listen to me.
Well said, Captain Greenbeard, Captain Redbeard, and I would just like to say you're the most radio ready, one of the most radio ready people that I've ever met. Your music needs to be out there. So Joey and Peter, take off the final end of this section.
Yeah, I just wanted to, Peter, it's been a true privilege to spend some time with you today. And I have to tell you that we've tried to do this twice before, and each time catastrophe got struck and we didn't get a chance to do our show. So I'm so happy that we've done it. It was worth the wait for me. And I, again, think that everything you're doing sounds great and is beautiful. And again, the moon to me is absolutely amazing. And I think you should talk to Mark later. And maybe you've already done this, but Play in the Yard to me is a blues tune and should be featured on one of the blues podcasts that's in the family. So just another thing, but it's been a real pleasure, my friend, and keep up the great work. And thanks for spending some time with us today.
Thank you so much. Well, I'm kind of blown away. I've been looking forward to this episode, well, for a while now.
Yeah.
And I was having okay, well, here's someone who's done a bit more than I have, and well, I wonder what he thinks. I know we have the podcast, but in the podcast, it's everyone is friendly towards everyone. There's actually hardly any criticism, and criticism can be positive or negative.
It can be, sure.
I always try to find positive, but I also try to find points of improvement.
Sure.
And so I was really looking forward to hear your opinion. So thank you very much for that.
You are most welcome. I'm so proud of what you've done. It really is fantastic. Again, I don't know what I could do to help, but I want that song, The Moon, to be huge. So we'll keep dreaming together and see what we can figure out. Because that's it. Just again, you know, all your stuff is good, but that song, you can see there's been an evolution from the first song all through The Moon. There's been an evolution in your proficiency to get in there and make music, and I just, it's fantastic. So thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
We will talk again soon. Thanks, Sparky,
all
and
right.
We'll see you next time on the Music Mentor podcast.
Thank you, everyone. That was episode 3 with Four Sons South. Goodbye, everyone. Ciao, ciao. Right, so I've stopped the recording. 5 minutes break for a pee or a coffee, Joey. We're still live on YouTube. I won't stop that.
Okay, well, hey, hi, YouTube.
Hello,
you see
YouTube.
me walking around scratching my face and stuff. Yay! All right.
So what I'll do is then I'll just get the main screen ready, right? So I'll remove Steve and Peter. You're free to go whenever you want, brother. It's been a pleasure to have you here, man.
I'm gonna hang around, but yes, I'm gonna make some. I think some tea, and apparently our dog needs to get walked. So my wife can.
That's not a euphemism, is it?
Can zip out. No.
I'm just getting ready for Mark to be on. That's all. That's all it is. I'm just preparing the water, as it were. Now that's a double. All right.
Well,
give me like 2.5 minutes, and I'll be right.
Yeah, a couple minutes for me too. So
All
we'll
right,
go
cool.
back to the gallery view, and everyone can chat with each other there.
I'll be back. Folks.
And Darman's going to cover you, Mark, and your 100 years of experience, obviously, because you can't do it to yourself. So we're going to make a joke and say we've only got 85 years experience this week, but Darman's going to cover you for the bit at the end that you usually do, yeah? So
Yeah, cool, man. Yeah,
I'll be back.
Yeah,
I'll be
cool.
back in 5, guys.
Yeah, I'm going for a wee myself.
Beatles, Beatles brothers. Peter, if you don't
Yes.
mind, we're offline. Can I say a bit about your music, if you don't mind? And I got a little bit of criticism. It's not criticism.
Oh,
it's
thank
more of
you. Yeah, no, I'm always good
more
for.
of an opinion. Right,
Yeah.
the second song, I really enjoyed it. I loved that you sort of let loose the voice. The guitar playing was excellent, or whatever. I think though, if I was in your shoes, I would like to hear that at a slightly higher tempo or whatever, so that, because you're going from like your scoops and the way you're singing, which is brilliant or whatever, but I just like to hear the contrast quicker, if you know what I mean, slightly quicker.
All right.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if that would create a bigger impact then, because you're doing like your more crooning type stuff, and then when you're like putting that grit in, that's following closer together, so you're getting that contrast quicker. And because like with music or whatever, if you play like discordant music, sometimes the point is of the discordant music is not that it sounds off. It's the fact that the music following that discordant music sounds all that brighter and more beautiful afterwards. It's almost like a counterpoint or an elevation or whatever. So that, but I'm not saying that it was a bad song. It's a great song, but I just like to have heard that at a faster tempo or whatever. More like a Bryan Adams type of speed.
Yeah, no, I hear what you say. It's most definitely, let's say, one of the simpler songs
It's just
that
my
I have.
opinion. Whatever.
And yeah, no, absolutely. And it's a very slow. It's a ballad, but because I chose this song for the Playing in the Yard for this episode, to also show, let's say, the slightly different side.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say like really fast, but just a slight speed up on the tempo. Because I'd be really curious to hear what that sounded like. For your first song, do you know what I liked? I liked that drum, and I could actually hear the hi-hat opening and closing. That is so rare. Now, usually, if you hear the hi-hat opening and closing, it's just like a different. It's a different tone or whatever. It's just a different tone. But I could hear that hi-hat opening and closing. I loved that, rather. So then he went into the main song and everything, and I really enjoyed the bass and the drums and everything. And finally, on the last song, I'd just like to say that I usually criticize songs that have got harmonies all the way through. But the fact that you were changing the harmonies and the way that they was arranged and the way that people were coming in and out made it excellent. Like there was no the fact that you were changing the harmonies and the way that they were applied meant that the harmonies worked all the way through the song, which is very, very unusual. Usually you get fatigue if you listen to harmonies all the way through
I hear it, yeah. Oh, thank you, Darman.
Well
said, she got that lilt.
Okay.
She got that lilt to her voice. That's what makes it. She got a little bit of a lilt, but it's just perfect.
She's just turned 20, and I am so glad that I've managed to scoop her up. All right, I'm gonna finish making the tea, and so that I'm ready for Mark's episode. Yeah,
let's go then, gentlemen.
Ready.
Joy, I'm just telling you, if someone else come in, that's my mum. She loves to come to all the shows. She's
Oh,
just sitting in
nice.
silence. She'll just be in the background. And
Hi, Mark's mom. Good to see you. Oh,
she's
Mike,
there.
what?
She comes to all the shows. So let's go
Well,
back to speaker cam. I'll mute
Alright.
the three amigos up the back. And
Alright.
instead of 100 years, it's just 85 years experience
85
this
years
time.
Yes,
And
got it.
Mark and Joy, we're going to go here be monsters, feed my demons, then the devil's in the detail.
All right.
That's the
Is-
one.
In that
Here be
order.
monsters, feed my demons, devils, and details. Got it.
Cool. So I'll just the YouTube recording's ongoing. That doesn't really matter. I'll start the main recording again.
All right.
1, 2. Hi, and welcome to episode 4 of the Music Mentor with Joy Stuckey, and today's guest is Mr. Mark Redbeard Story. Joy, could you take the mic and introduce Mark, and I'll get myself out of here.
Absolutely, my friend. So it's always a privilege to be here on the podcast with Sparky and all the amazing folks that we have dropping by. You never know who's going to turn up. And today, prepare for the internet to become broken, because one of my dearest friends, a great musician, a great songwriter, but more importantly, a stellar human being is here, Mark Story. And, you know, everybody talks about the red beard. I can't see that, so it has very little impact on me. Except for the fact that I know where to grab you if I get sort of unhappy. I was like, if you make me mad, I yank your beard. Or better yet, I get Paula to beard. That's not a euphemism. All right. So how are you doing, my friend?
I'm good. First things first, how's Jennifer?
She is progressing.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. She took my threats seriously, yeah?
Indeed. Very much so. Very much so. You know, you can't we know when somebody's speaking with authority in this house. So we know.
All right. Yeah. Well, someone's got to put their foot down, and that foot is me, you know.
Absolutely. You know, it's not your fault that God has slated you for that kind of role.
I know, right?
You just have to do what you have to do, man.
I know.
But
yeah, go on.
I was going to say, one of the things that's been cool about, you know, we've often said to each other that one of the best things that's ever happened was meeting from the top talent family, because being part of that family, the quality of the people you meet is really incredible. Not only are they, you know, great people, but great artists and great musicians, and there's a real sense of community, which is something that sometimes you don't find in business, because at the end of the day, we're in the music business. Whether we do it full time or we do it part time, it doesn't really matter. This is the music business, because in order for us to keep making art, we have to generate some revenue from that art so we can pay, you know, some of the bills. And being in the music business is very expensive. So, you know, but one of the things we've always said is that it's so nice that we were able to meet each other. So I have had the true privilege of getting to know you. When I was in the UK, we got a chance to visit in person, and I've had such an exciting opportunity to hear your music in various stages of completion. So I feel like a bit of an insider that I've been able to hear, you know, the music in different stages. And what amazes me is that every time I hear something from you, it just seems to get better and better. So I'm excited to share these tunes with everybody today, because they are really fantastic. And you know, you've got a home studio. So let's talk a little bit about how you managed to create all this amazing music. And you're, if I'm not mistaken, you primarily do all the instruments yourself, right? You're playing everything.
Yeah. Well, I've literally I came out the studio about 6:15. I've just been putting the finishing touches to that track, you know, and I used all of your suggestions.
Yeah.
And the song just stinks now.
I figured I knew that was going to be what happened.
You killed it.
See, if I give you a suggestion, it's great, because you can go, well, it was great till Stuckey got a hold of it. Now it's awful.
Yeah.
You can blame me for everything. I like it.
It's been stuckied all over. No, as it happens, no, seriously, I listened to it, final mix. I think I've got it. I'm 100% sure it's there. I will send it to you to have a listen.
Yeah.
But I listened to my old mix. You remember the one you went, yeah, it's 97% there.
Yeah.
And man, seriously, I mean, the difference is outstanding. From the
It's subtle
suggestions you
stuff.
made, the whole song, it's just got a broader sound. It's just more, it's got more of a sparkle to it, you know. So cheers for that.
Oh, you're most welcome.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. If you've got the other suggestions, let me know, because I'm about to start the video. But yeah, I think I've got it. So, well, so basically, the studio I've got is at the bottom of the garden. Paula sends her love to you, by the way.
I love her too. She's great.
And when we decided to move in together during COVID, because we've been together 13, 14 years, but we didn't live together.
Right.
When I started moving in, she said to me, look, if you're going to move in, and I thought, here we go. She went, you're going to need a studio. And I was like, oh, no.
How brilliant
Here
is
we
that?
go. So it begins. So yeah, she got the studio built for me. The equipment I use is so old. I'm not sure if it's what makes the sound I've got. I've got a copy of Windows 7 running on it. Seriously. And a copy of FL Studios.
Yeah.
I don't even know which one it is, and Audacity. But it's a great place to go and like really kind of clear your mind and put your ideas into action without worrying about upsetting anyone with too much volume and stuff like that.
Right.
So yeah, that's kind of where I do all my stuff. You know, I took some time to do a bit of soundproofing on it. Fortunately for me, the guy that lives next door to us is a sound engineer.
Really?
So I brought him. Yeah. So I said, look, could you just come and give me some advice? Because I was going to put acoustic tiles around the whole thing. And he went, no, don't do that. He went, you just need to place them in certain places. So I did that. But yeah, it's a great little place to work. I call it the Voodoo Shack.
I like it.
Yeah, but that's where I do all my stuff.
Well, you know, it's important to have a creative space. If it's a closet, I mean, whatever you can find a place to create. I mean, that is an important part of the process, to at least have a space that's dedicated to your craft. So you're very fortunate in that regard. And by the way, you know, I have gone kicking and screaming from Windows XP, which is where I would prefer to be. I was a real power user of Windows XP. I don't like Windows 10. I don't like Windows 11. I'm forced into it for reasons I won't bore you with. But yeah, it's nice to be able to just use stuff that works, you know, and fits your workflow. And that's, you know, that's one of the things, as I say every time on the show, you know, it's about learning. You know, you can be playing guitar for 3 months and I can still learn something from it. So it's about learning what other people are doing and what's working for them. And maybe it won't work for you, or maybe it will, but it certainly opens your mind to the possibilities. And as much as I value a commercial studio like what I run, and there are certainly things I do that cannot be done at home. There's, you know, certain things, and I spend $6,000 on a microphone, you know, and not just because it has a certain brand name, because it does a certain job. But the point is, I mean, there are some things that I do that you can't do at home, but by and large, you know, we all can find ways of making what we do work. So and your stuff sounds really, really great. You know, you play or at least you started doing all live bass. I know at one point maybe it was programmed bass, but I think you started doing all live bass now. You're programming the drums, using loops or something like that. And then of course all the guitar work is you, and then all the vocals are you, and then you also bring to bear some mean harmonica playing as well, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah. Now the slide guitar.
And now we don't have this song ready for this show, but you've done. We'll go, how about a little tease so they can be looking at your what is your YouTube handle? What's your page?
Mark Story Music.
Mark Story Music. So in the next I don't know, a week or so, probably you'll see this mashup cover that you've done. So let's tease them a little bit with that and talk a little bit about how you started playing slide guitar now, which is something that I don't do.
Okay, well, the song was actually done. It just started with what without the slide. So all I've had to do was the slide. But the song was done. It was mixed. It was far as I was concerned, it was going to be a kind of not a throwaway track, but a track I could put out when I was writing the original stuff for the album.
Right.
And I liked it. I liked it a lot. But there was something about it. You know, you get that feeling in the back of your mind that something's missing here. There's nothing wrong with it, you know.
Right.
And I don't know where the idea came from, but I thought, you know what? I think if I put a bit of slide guitar at the beginning of this, just slide a little, and then I've added a little bit of harp to it as well, just a tad. That's going to give the song a real kind of launch platform, so it doesn't just go bang, you know.
Right.
So you've got that little glide in and got it. But then I had I knew a little bit about it, but not enough. And if you recall, I sent you a mix where I played most of the slide on the bass strings, which wasn't a good move.
Right.
Because
Right.
it kind of blended in with the bass. So I redid it. And that's another thing with the home studio is you just go and redo it, you know.
Yeah.
So I went down and I thought, right, I need to make sure I'm hitting the higher strings. And, you know, it came out really well. It was tricky to mix it. And your help was much appreciated, trust me on that one.
My
It
pleasure.
always is, but I was beginning to I am so sick of this song. Do you know what I mean? I just never want to hear it again.
Well,
Ever in my
it's-
life.
It's funny because as someone that mixes records for a living, you know, I have a mental space where I just never get tired of it because, you know, a lot of your big mixers, Alan Parsons, Dave Pensato, you know, CLA, Michael Brower, you know, those guys are mixing, you know, 14 hours just on one song sometimes. Now, technically speaking, some of that's not mixing. Some of that is sometimes editing as well and fixing some things that weren't done correctly in the tracking process. But you know, I enjoy what I do so much. I just never get tired of hearing it, and I don't ever get burnt out. I'm just that way, and I'm that way with people too. Like I don't get burnt out with people. I don't get, and like I know there are bands that tour, you know, 200 days a year. And they're like, if I have to play this song one more time, I'm going to slip my wrist. But like, I just never feel that way. And I think for me as a professional, I mean, you know, if you come to see me and you pay for it, the least I can do is play the song you want to hear. You know, like I feel like that's not too much of a heavy lift. But yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. There are times that there are times, especially when you're in a place where you're like, you know, I haven't quite figured out what it is this needs. It still needs something. You can kind of go, yeah, I gotta take a break. So I will get up and walk around or something for a few minutes and take a break, let my ears take a break. I'll never forget one time on my first record, which is the first record is always the hardest to work.
Yeah.
And I had a song that was real important to me. And I hated everything about the mix. I was like, this sucks. This is not what I want. I can't. I was like 21 years old. And I was like, I hate this. It's terrible. I took a 2-hour dinner break. I came back. And I could have sworn that someone remixed the song while I was gone. And of course, they didn't because it was only me in the building and I'm the only one that had the key. It was just the fact that I got that fresh perspective and I stopped fighting myself. You know?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, I kind of got myself into a mindset where I try not to panic
right.
or get stressed about it. So put it this way, I did a mix of the song and I was about to send it to my daughter actually, and I'd listened to the mix and I'd forgotten to unmute one of the vocal lines. So
that's right. Everybody told me that.
Yeah, you know that one. Where's that vocal line gone? So I thought, right, okay, go down to the studio tomorrow, you know, put it back. But I find if you work in, like, for example, all I've done today is I've tried to lose some of the hiss at the beginning where the slide is. There's a little bit of hiss. I mean, I've totally got rid of it, but it's definitely not like quite so stark.
Right.
And the fever section of the song where the wah, the bit you like is I got the levels right on that. I think the fever vocal was a bit low to start with. I've boosted that back up. And I think it's a good. I will send it to you later and you can have a listen. But I think
I'm excited.
There.
I'm excited to hear it because it really is great. And we should say the song is can we say what it is? Because it's a mashup. So you call it Spoonful of Fever.
Yeah, well, I learned a lot of covers. You know, I like to learn covers. And what you were saying earlier about bands that get sick of playing songs. I mean, I used to work in a care home,
Yeah.
and me and a friend used to go and play gigs there, but we'd be playing sort of stuff that, you know, not too many. Like it'd be a bit of 60 stuff, but we do sorts of 50 stuff as well, which isn't my genre. But while you're playing the music, you're into the music.
Right.
So if I was doing Bring Me Sunshine, for example, is a song, I don't know if you've heard it, Bring Me Sunshine. It's a right old-fashioned English kind of, I don't know if it's English or, but it's a right old kind of good old English musical type tune. And yeah, I gave it the same delivery that I would one of my own songs, you know.
Yeah.
Once you're in that music vibe, it's great, you just get carried away with it. But Spoonful of Fever, so basically I'd learned to play Spoonful by Howlin' Wolf. And I also wanted to learn to play Fever by Peggy Lee. They're both in different keys. And as I was playing them, I was thinking, these are really similar, right? There's a very similar vibe going on here. I'll put them together. So I decided to go with Spoonful as the main part of the song.
Yeah.
And then I went through the lyrics of Fever and I thought, I'll just do the opening, like, you know, that section. I'll just take that section out of it so it doesn't dominate the song too much, but it just takes you away from the Spoonful thing.
Well, it works brilliantly because
really
it's kind of like a bridge for it, or middle eight break, as my English friends would say. But it really works, and it's brilliant to combine those two together. And the thing that you said I love is you said when you're playing the songs, you know, you were playing songs that were traditional songs from the 50s or whatever, but you gave it the same sort of treatment you would your originals. That really, for anyone interested in artistry and wondering, okay, why should I be in the music business? Why should I do this? Why should I make the sacrifices and work like I work, and, you know, and the disappointments and the heartbreak, because there's a lot of those in music business. But that is, in fact, the essence is character. It's your character. Like, you can be the best guitar player in the world technically and still be boring and not compelling. You can be a very basic guitar player and do something incredible. And, you know, it's not that I don't believe in technical proficiency, because I do, and I believe in practicing and all that kind of stuff. But it really is the spirit or the character of the artist that is transmitted through the music that makes it what you want to listen to. Because I can name a bunch of artists that if I were to pick them apart from a technical perspective, they're awful. And yet they have some of the biggest selling records in the world. Why?
Yeah.
Because of their character and the way they treat the music and how they put their personality in it. And you are actually a gifted musician, but you put this amazing vibe on all your music that's compelling and that people want to listen to, and that is, you know, that just really is as good as anything I've heard out there. And so while we're saying that, let's actually play some music so anyone that's not familiar with you can hear what we're gonna do. I think we're gonna Feed My Demons first. Is that what we're doing first?
I think it's Here Be Monsters.
Oh, Here Be Monsters. Okay, you're right. I'm wrong. That's the only mistake I'm gonna make all day.
But what I would say before we go is that the 3 tracks I've picked are the 3 opening tracks. I mean, I'm starting to put the album into some kind of structure now.
Right.
So I want it to be like a ride. Yeah.
Gotcha. So the order is important.
Yeah. So like Here Be Monsters is kind of straight in your face. Yeah. It's one of them songs. Count 4 and you're in.
Yeah.
But I thought to myself, you know, like Feed My Demons has got that really kind of spooky intro. And I thought what would be really good is if I push that right to the start of the MP3 or the WAV, the minute Here Be Monsters finishes, as it fades out, that drone will come in. So it goes from Here Be Monsters to Feed My Demons. So the 2 songs kind of sit together.
They're complementary, yes.
Yeah, and so now I'm trying to get this thing so it's up and down. So people aren't just going, oh, it's a good song over and over again, you know. But yeah, Here Be Monsters. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's dive into this, and we'll talk more about it on the other side.
Without further ado, and can I just add that talent can take you so far, but personality is everything, isn't it? If you have to have character to stand out in this world. So, and Mark Story, you've got that in abundance. Here Be Monsters by Mark Story. Enjoy, ladies and gentlemen. And love.
Drinking blood from the skull of my enemy, rising up with a newfound energy. Gonna drive that choo-choo bomb and connect the adrenaline. My heart is banging with a bass drum, wired, ticking like a time bomb. Can't stop the revolution, bringing out the big guns. Gonna need a read between to find the answers. Between the devil and the deep is a blessing and a curse. Mark my words, here be monsters. Here be monsters. Give it some of that mojo dopamine, double shot and the groove is kicking in. Gonna rock that voodoo box and crash on the livery. Open up your mind to see how far it wanders. Between the devil and the deep is a blessing and a curse. Mark my words, here be monsters.
You're off the edge of the map, mate. Here there be monsters.
Drinking blood from the skull of my enemy, rising up with a newfound energy. Gonna drive that choo-choo bomb and connect the adrenaline. Open up your mind to see how far it wanders. Gonna need a read between to find the answers. Between the devil and the deep is a blessing and a curse. Mark my words, here be monsters. Here be monsters. Mark my words, here be monsters.
I mean, fantastic, so good, and the harmonica sounds just so good. I love it. I love it. I love especially that bend that you do, and there's that pause and that space. That's just so great.
Thank you. Yeah, it's I'll let rip on that one. It's just a bit of fun, that song, really. It's not too deep. The lyrics are kind of like, I call them cartoon lyrics or Rob Zombie type lyrics. they make sense, but they're fun. They're not too deep.
They are fun, and they're just full of attitude. When you say "mark my words," there's so much attitude behind that. It sounds fantastic. And the thing that people are going to discover about you, if they don't know already, is you have a keen, I guess ear would be the right word, a keen ear for catchy guitar riffs. And man, there's a lot of bands out there that have made 40-year, 50-year careers on building songs around guitar riffs. So if you've got that talent, I mean, using it's a good idea. A good idea. I mean, you've just got that dun dee da that just such a great guitar riff that you can get behind, you can enjoy, and it sinks into your brain, and you're grooving along to it. I really love it. I really love it. And now I can't appreciate this, but I understand that the videos are quite entertaining as well, and you do all that yourself as well. I mean, it's you think you sort of script them, I guess, and produce them, and
I try and give it a bit of a theme if I can, but it's
what's happening visually on that piece? What's going on?
Okay, so it's a lot of silence at the beginning, so but what's happening in the video is my guitar case is laid out, and I'm opening the guitar. You just see my hands over the guitar case, and laying in the guitar case. I used to be a milkman. I used to deliver milk years ago, and
like from yourself or bottles.
No, for a job. I used to deliver milk.
I'm kidding. I'm giving you a hard time.
Oh,
all right, go ahead.
So I was like delivering milk one day, and I looked round, and someone had thrown out a full-size wooden skeleton, right? A full-size one, arms length long.
Wow.
So I knocked on the door and I said, like, "Do you want that?" And I was like, "No, take it." So I took it, but most of it was rotten. But I kept the torso and the head. So the torso and the head are in the guitar case. So when you open the guitar case, it's a skeleton, and then you hear this kind of growling noise. And what I did was I found a YouTube video of a like a ghost train ride, and someone had shot the journey through the ghost train. So I downloaded it and cut it in with the music and me playing guitar. So you've got bits of me playing guitar and playing the harp, and then you've got these characters, like when it goes the bit with Barbossa from Pirates of the Caribbean, when he goes, "You're off the edge of the map, mate, here there be monsters."
Yeah.
And then there's a laugh. I managed to cut it in. So there's a guy dressed up like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre guy, and he's lifting his arms up like, and it just fits with the laugh.
Nice.
The whole video process it's weird because I kind of dislocate myself from the music and then concentrate on the visual.
Right.
And I guarantee by the time I finish the video, I never want to hear that song again. I've heard every line in it.
Well, it really is a gift, though, for you to be able, because one of the things, it's interesting talking about the music business again. It's interesting that, in the 80s and 90s, early 90s anyway, videos were real important to professional bands that were touring and stuff like that. They were really important thanks to MTV, VH1, that kind of thing, BET. But very few people were able to play in that arena because it cost so much to make a video. And then in the mid 90s and through the early 2000s, videos were not important anymore because MTV, VH1, BET had all gone to reality television. So the music videos were pretty much, not a big deal. There's still a few people making them, but it wasn't a big deal anymore. And then when we started having movie theaters that we can carry around in our pocket, talking about our cell phones, our smartphones, all of a sudden videos are like very in demand again. And they are really an important part of marketing yourself as a musician, as a creator. But the problem with that is that not everybody knows how to make interesting, compelling videos that people will want to watch over and over again. I know a lot of people, and I'm guilty of this myself, I'll be honest. A lot of people will take a still picture and and then put the lyrics, have the lyrics pop up and do lyric videos. And I do that, frankly. I mean, I do that a lot. Because as a blind person, and I am using this as an excuse, but as a blind person, it's like, I have a hard time really conceptualizing of the video And
Yeah.
also it also, as you know, it takes a lot of time, and you got to have a certain talent for that. So the fact that you can do videos that people remember and are kind of edgy, I mean, I think that's so awesome for you and so good, because you've got a two-pronged attack. You've got amazing music, but then you've got an interesting video that's entertaining too. So you've got the whole package that you just, you're able to do. So I love that about your stuff, and I know that you really immerse yourself into the music, into the video, and I mean, I've heard lots of people in the Top Talent family and on your Facebook page stuff that talk about how much they love the videos and how good they are. So sorry I cannot appreciate them, but musically, A+ for me. That's good. That's good stuff. And I don't say that lightly. I mean, it's so good.
I always thought it was a good idea. I mean, if I'm on, so I try and treat myself. How do I put this? I try and put myself in the position of a person that sees a link for a song and has to decide whether they want to hear it. So I thought, well, what's better than just sound? Is sound and vision. So if you've got a video,
Yeah.
the video will kind of is a double-edged sword, because they're drawn in by the video as well as the music, and it just gives you that more chances of people listening to your music. But
It
I have
does,
to
and
say,
oh, go ahead.
I was to say, yeah, sorry, go on, Joe's, please.
No, I was just going to say what's really important too that people don't think about. YouTube gives you, like, I think 3 or 4 thumbnails to choose from that it sort of randomly picks. But having a compelling thumbnail, static shot of the video is really important too, so that people are interested. Go, what's this all about? Let me take a look at this. Let me click it.
What I usually do is I make up a thumbnail previous to the video going out.
Yeah.
So if YouTube suggests a thumbnail and the thumbnail looks fine, I won't mess with it. But if it isn't, I use my thumbnail. So it's got the name on it, the title of the song, and it's just another visual thing. What I was going to say is the riff for that song is many, many years ago, I used to go to a place in London called Dingwalls. It's in Camden Town. And they used to have a Sunday night rhythm and blues night. And there was a lot of British bands around at the time that were playing rhythm and blues. But we used to also get some American bands come over. I mean, Mitch Ryder and the Detroit Wheels came and played there. And Luther Allison. So the Sunday night was always a blues and rhythm and blues night. And there was a band called Lou Lewis Reformer. And Lou Lewis was an English guy that played blues harp. And that was his main instrument. He'd sing and play blues harp. And they always used to start their set with a song called Shaken Finger Pop, which I don't think was their song. I think they just did it their way, but it's a kind of an old sort of rhythm and blues track. And that riff just stuck in my head for decades. It was one of them things that I always, if I think back at gigs I've been to, there's certain things you go, yeah, that track, So I wanted to write a song, not ripping that riff off, but it's kind of similar to Lucille as well by Little Richard. So it's that kind of
got the 1-4-5-4 progression.
So,
I got you.
Yeah. So basically what I want to do was write a song built around that. And what I usually do is I write the music, get it all done, and then I think, right, what's it going to be about? And then I let the words start coming out. So I never name a song until I've finished the lyrics. And then when I finish the lyrics,
that's smart.
That's
that way you don't have any preconceived.
I mean, I write ideas down, like lyrical ideas down, and I'll pick them out. But I never think, right, I'm going to write a song called Here Be Monsters. How's it going to go? And I write the music, and I think, what's it going to be about? And I let my imagination run with the lyrics. And I'm very particular about lyrics, so it takes me a while sometimes, but that's the way I work.
It's worth the wait. And let me say this. We've talked about this before, but you are kind of in an interesting position because your music has some edge to it, right? So some people consider it like harder rock, and then but it's also very much steeped in the blues with the harmonica and what genre do you think you are? Like what do you call yourself? Because it's got a little Billy Idol flair. It's got some traditional, it's got some traditional blues elements as well. I mean, it really encompasses a wide range of sounds.
Well, it kind of goes back to the whole roots thing. I mean, I spent a lot of my time in a band playing heavy metal. and it was like power metal. It was really in your face.
Mm.
And after about a year of playing these gigs, and we did all right, I was on stage bored out of my head. There was no light and shade. It was just 1, 2, 3, 4, bang, bang, bang. You know, it just got boring. But that I left behind, and my influences, when I think about it, my influences from the start, when I was early teens, 13, 14, was I tended to pick up on albums by like Raw Power by Iggy and the Stooges, Alice Cooper Group, MC5. I really like that Detroit sound. It's got such a filthy guitar sound. It's just,
It does.
It's obscene, you know. Bob Seger, Ted Nugent. And I really, really love their stuff, and I love that sound. But I've always also liked a lot of early Aerosmith, like the early Aerosmith albums where they were kind of more bluesy, stuff like that. So when I think about it, my roots are in like bluesy rock and roll, bluesy kind of rock. I'm not a blues player because I play, obviously I use blues, but I wouldn't call myself a blues player. I use the blues to form a melting pot for the sound. So I call it a mixture of blues, rhythm and blues, and rock.
Yeah.
Someone described Heavy Monsters as heavy metal. I'm not quite sure why, but they did.
I mean, I understand it's got the attitude, but it sonically doesn't sound like heavy metal. But I get that there's some like heavy metal, sort of like there's an angst attitude to it, and it feels in your face. And, you know, it's interesting. You know, I'll tell you, I have a song. We won't go down the rabbit hole of it, but a music supervisor told me that I should call my sound swagger rock, and I would like to gift that genre to you if you want it, because I think it's got some swagger to it. It's got some machismo. It's got some, it's got this feel to it that's really grand. So anyway, it's certainly beautiful stuff. And what I guess my real point was that I think it works on so many different levels. You know, you can play it on rock stations, you can play it on blues stations, so you've got a nice, melting pot of sounds that allows you to be, cross genre and not in just one small pocket. So I love that about your music. That's another thing I love about it. And in your harmonica playing, I love it because it I don't know how to describe it. It really reminds me of Mick Jagger's harmonica playing a little bit. I don't know if you like his playing. I do. It does.
He's a very, very underrated harmonica player.
He is. I mean, he's really good. But you have like really amazing tone, which is something you either have or you don't have. And then you do what is needed. You never do anything more than what the song calls for. And I love that because it means that every time you hear the harmonica, it really means something to the song. So I love that. And look, don't get me wrong, John Popper, wish I could play like that. I mean, I wish I don't play harmonica at all, but I mean, he's amazing. But the problem with John Popper is that sometimes the harmonica really doesn't have a function except to say, watch how well I can play harmonica. And no shame in that. But what I like about yours is it's so strategic. It's so strategic. Well, let's go into the next song so that we understand the flow here. So we're going to go into the next song on when the record comes out. This will be song number 2, and we'll talk about the video on the other side as well. So here be monsters, right? And now this is Feed My Demons, right? This is the one that I don't know why I keep screwing the order up here, but it's I'm going to blame it on my wife. She's not listening, so I can get away with it.
Without further ado, part 2 of 3 songs, Feed My Demons by Mark Story. Enjoy, ladies and gentlemen. One love.
skin and bone, my secret identity. And it's good to know that you're never alone with a split personality. Been drowning in slow motion with my alter ego since I can remember. And I'm looking at me from the back of the dark mirror. The night time it haunts my dreams with all kinds of evil. Leads me to decadent days for the psychotic hedonism. But I guess that's the price I pay when I feed my demons. When I feed my demons. Suddenly I'm not the one you used to know. And I'm wondering how I begin to explain this freak show. I've only got myself to blame for my self-destruction. Yet here I go again. Yeah! And I'm looking at me from the back of the dark mirror. The night time it haunts my dreams with all kinds of evil. Leads me to decadent days for the psychotic hedonism. But I guess that's the price I pay when I feed my demons. When I feed my demons. When I feed my demons. And I'm looking at me from the back of the dark mirror. The night time it haunts my dreams with all kinds of evil. Leads me to decadent days for the psychotic hedonism. But I guess that's the price I pay when I feed my demons. 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 Been drowning in slow motion with my alter ego.
Feed My Demons by Mark Story. I'll pass the mic back to you, Mr. Sticky.
Yeah, I mean, it's so there again, we got this awesome guitar riff that's driving the whole thing. We've got the strategic harmonica. We've got the great vocals. I remember having some minor input, I think, on this mix at some point, but I want to, what I'm remembering here, because I don't know if it's a limitation on my part or what, but in whenever I'm on Zoom, I hear everything in mono. And this is a song that you should definitely check out on YouTube, Mark Story Music, and put on some headphones and listen to some cool panning with things moving left and right. And there's some really nice stuff going on there. And I think it's a good song. I think this should be like, this should be kind of like a Christmas song. You should pull this song out every Halloween and play it. Because, it's like a Christmas song. Every Halloween we should play "Feed My Demons." But it's those laughs and stuff at the beginning, and the little shaking sounds and the shakers and stuff. Pretty. I can see those being a little scary, and under the right circumstance. But it's a fantastic track. I love it.
The riff for it, the main guitar riff, that busy guitar riff, I was jamming to a YouTube track one night, just practicing.
Yeah.
And that riff came out, and I thought, well, I'll use that. So I built the song around it. I let it sit for ages because I got quite busy with the Wrapped in Shadows stuff. So the song sat around for months and months. And then I thought, right, it's time to approach this song, and it's time to be a big brave boy and play some live bass. But that's the first song I played live bass on, and I could have kicked myself because it sounds so rich.
It does, and I remember you telling me that it was that you were going to put live bass on it, and I thought, I'm so glad you did it. It made a real difference.
I've put live bass now on the track you took, like Heavy Monsters and Devils in the Detail.
Yeah.
And it just completely lifts the song, which is fantastic.
And
I got in a lot of trouble.
Oh, you got into trouble?
Go on.
No, what?
I got in a lot of trouble for that song.
Yes,
a lot of trouble. Yeah.
I understand that. Yeah,
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah. Well, it's. I understand that visually it might be disturbing. But what do I know about that? Now, is this the video that has the pumpkin head, or am I thinking about different?
That's the one. Yeah, I really went to town on this one. I mean, even Paul.
And then didn't you have like a meat cleaver or something?
Yeah. Full, like, shiny, like, stainless steel meat cleaver. Also had I've got like a skull mask, so I pull that over my face and put my hat on. My beard comes out the bottom really well. So all the harmonica bits are me with the skull mask. So I'm playing like this skeleton playing.
Oh, nice.
Playing the harmonica.
That's cool. I don't have the beard to pull that off, so I can't.
It's cut with like me playing, but yeah, it's kind of. I mean, I did explain when Sparky first debuted on the podcast. Obviously, he says, what's the song about? Yeah, tell me about your song. Excuse me. So I explained it pretty clearly. What I said was that when I write certain tunes, I call on my past life traumas or things that I put myself in a headspace from experience of things I've been through, emotional things I've been through. And I did have a lot of problems with depression over the years, and I kind of got my head around it, and I thought, well, if I can either suffer or I can embrace these demons and make them my friends, and make them work for me. Yeah. So that's why I go back into my head to get into that headspace to write a song about. That song is basically about where I go to get inspiration to write dark lyrics. And as far as I know, most people got that. But there was a few that didn't. So anyway, all good publicity.
Hey, all publicity is good publicity. It was Oscar Wilde who said the only thing worse than being talked about is not being talked about.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
So I certainly agree that. It's funny because I think it's interesting because tapping into pain is much easier than tapping into joy.
Yeah,
it's harder to write a happy song that doesn't sound trite. It's very difficult to do that. And I think, at least for me, and I think, well, I know for you, because you were close friends and we've talked about this, but I think that, making whatever you have in your life work for you is the key to a happy life. Because
absolutely,
the fact is, I mean, I say this a lot, and it's kind of a joke, but it really isn't. I can't see or smell because of the brain tumor, and I let that work for me because I told my wife that I basically tricked her into marriage by telling her that she would always look and smell perfect no matter what she did. Yeah. And she took it. She's like, yeah, and we've been married 20 years this year. So, it works. And it's kind of a joke, but at the same time, it's not. But I think for me, the pain of, there are some songs I have that are quite dark. And as a brain tumor survivor, and someone who's almost died a bunch as a child, was a very sick child, missed a lot of things, you have to develop a bit of a gallows sense of humor because you're dealing with your mortality at a very early age. And so, sometimes I'd rather laugh than cry, frankly. I mean, I'd rather, and so some stuff I think is funny, people may not think is funny, but the point is I have some songs that are a bit angsty, and that are, pretty dark, but they're cathartic, they're therapeutic, and
Yes.
they're powerful because we have this weird thing as part of the human condition that we are tricked into thinking that life is complicated and that we are alone in our experience. And when you
Yeah.
hear a song and you think, oh my God, that person's singing my life, I so can relate to this, I so understand it, you suddenly realize that you're not alone anymore. And I think that's so powerful. So like, I don't know if that's why it's easier to tap into the darker stuff. I don't know if pain's just more, I don't know if you just, remember the pain better or what it is, but it is, I think any artist will tell you, and I'm a very positive, happy person, but I think that any artist would tell you that remembering those times and turning them into, you're actually taking the power away from the negative times when you put it in art form. You're giving yourself the power again, and you're transforming something that was painful and negative into something that can be positive and healing. So anyway, that's my 10-cent psychiatric evaluation. But I love your music.
It's I mean, I had a very, very, very strange childhood. I mean, it takes too long to go on about it, but seriously, I mean, weird. One day you and I will sit down and chat about it.
We'll do it.
It really bizarre. And I just feel quite sorry for myself, like, well, why me? Why me? And then I kind of like, something dawned on me that I know people go, oh, there's always someone worse off than you, but there is, there are people that are dealing with things that are worse than, in my opinion, what I went through, yet they're dealing with them. They're not moaning about it, it's getting on with it. And they're like, okay, this is the hand I've been dealt, boom. And that was a kind of good wake-up call for me. And also, as well, working in a care home where every resident had dementia suddenly makes you realise that what you got now is what you need to hang on to. And I used to look at the photographs on the walls of them when they were younger and they're out with their wives on holiday. And then I look around at them and they're sitting there and they literally can't even remember who their kids' names are. And I thought to myself, Jesus, man, like, you can spend the rest of your life feeling sorry for yourself, or you can enjoy what you got and hope that you don't end up not knowing who anyone is. You know, so that was a good education for me working in the care home.
Well, it's a powerful lesson. You're right. And the thing is like, the only way to defeat, and I have to confess, this is my projection. I'm projecting here, but my whole life has been about conquering things that were supposed to kill me. So I do sort of have that mindset, of defeating something or conquering something. That's just kind of part of my nature, for good or ill. I'm not claiming it's either. But, my mindset is the only way to truly take defeat away from life is to take what you've got and enjoy it for every single thing that it is. And you can work towards the things that aren't working for you. I'm not saying, and I'm also not saying that you can't take a moment to be angry. It's okay to feel sorry for yourself once in a while. It's okay to say this isn't fair. The trick is you just can't live there. And again, that's why the kind of music that talks about those things, like some of the stuff you do, some of the stuff I do, is so powerful, because that's our little moment where we go, I don't like what's happening right now. And now that I've said all that, I feel better. I'm over it. I can get back to being happy and enjoying what I got. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I was about to say the same thing. It's like there's nothing wrong with feeling sorry for yourself or
Yeah.
having a little swim in the pity pool, but it's the length of time you stay in there.
Yeah,
If
you
you
can
stay in
visit,
there
but you
too
can't
long-
live. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you'll get
Yeah.
sympathy out of someone if you go, "Oh, I broke my arm today." They go, "Oh no, you okay?" You know.
Oh yeah.
But if you kept sitting there going, "I broke my arm, I broke my arm, I broke my arm," I mean, it's fair. In the end, people go, "I'm through with the sympathy now." You're
Well,
getting
what
my
they'd probably
tits.
do is break your other. They would break your other arm, or maybe a leg.
Yeah.
You have something different to complain about.
What a pity
Well, let
you
me-
didn't break your jaw. You know?
Yeah, it's like, and they'll remedy that for you.
Yeah.
But tell me, I do want to ask. You know, you and I are guitar geeks. We love guitars. How many different guitars do you have, and what are you tending to use on these songs? Because I want other people that are at home recording in their creative space to kind of hear, you know, what other people are using, because your stuff sounds really good.
All right. Okay. Well, I'm predominantly an acoustic guitar player more than electric. I mean, I've got better at the electric, but I've played more acoustic. I use a Washburn electroacoustic for the acoustic guitars in my songs.
Right.
And I've got a Martin as well, electroacoustic, but I prefer the Washburn.
Yeah.
It's just got that. It's just got that little magic.
Well, they're very
and
different. They're very different animals. Yeah.
Yeah, the Martin's very like it's like every note on the fretboard is completely there. The intonation is perfect.
Yeah.
But it's just I just find the guitar. It sounds great through an amp. I'll say that, but acoustically, just across my knee, doesn't sound as good as the Washburn.
Gotcha.
To my ears, you know. I love Washburns.
Yeah.
I've also got a Washburn 12-string, which takes a bit of getting used to. I haven't used it very much, but it's one of them things that I will pull out the arse at some point. So my go-to acoustic guitars are both Washburns. The backups, I've got a Kramer Ferrington, which has got a rather horrible thin sound. I don't like it very much. And I've got a Yamaha FG170 that I've had 40 years. That's got one of those sounds that can only be from a guitar that's that old.
Yeah.
It's
The age of the wood makes a difference, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it hasn't got. I mean, I've never recorded with it because it hasn't got it hasn't got a jack on it. I'd have to record it using a mic.
Right.
But it's my go-to guitar for jamming and writing ideas. And then for the electric stuff, I've got an Epiphone SG, which is okay, but it tends to go out of tune quite. Which, as you know, when you're doing take after take after take, that starts to get on your nerves a bit.
That's annoying. That's annoying. Yes, you don't want.
So I don't go far wrong with my BC Rich Warlock.
Okay, because that riff in the last song had such nice bite to it. I really liked it.
Yeah, that was the BC Rich Warlock. It's I paid £60 for it. I bought it off my stepson, believe it or not.
Nice.
And oh man, what a beautiful guitar! And the other guitar that I use quite a lot is a Bohemian oil can guitar, which when it was presented to me, it was a Christmas present from my stepkids. And I was like, what's this? And I opened it up. And I was, what the heck is this? Right? I'll be honest, my first kind of impression of it, just looking at it, was, oh, that's a really lovely present. I really appreciate it. Can't imagine it sounds any good. Till I plugged it in. And man, I used it on Spoonful of Fever.
Okay, cool. Which guitar were you playing slide on?
Yeah, on the Bohemian oil can.
I love it. It sounds really cool.
It's really a love. I mean, the only problem with it, Joey, is that because it's an oil can, it's rectangular in shape.
So it's hard to hold.
So you can't really put it across your knee because it slips off. Right? So I always got a strap attached to the guitar. So when I'm playing it, I'm sitting down, the strap's taking the weight of the guitar. But yeah, it's a lovely guitar to play. It stays in tune really well. And a lot of people are really fascinated by it when I see it in video. So like, really like, wow.
And are you using amps or plugins for your guitar?
I use plugins. What I basically do is I put all my guitars through a Zoom multi-effects pedal, and there's probably about 15 patches on there that I go to on a regular basis. So I go through the Zoom straight into the mixing desk, and record the guitar tracks on Audacity, and then I transfer them as WAV files back to FL. I need to sort of using an Mbox, but the system works for me. But that's the system I use.
That's
so
all that matters. If it works for you, who cares? I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah, it works for me. I mean, I'm not the world's greatest guitarist. I'm not the world's greatest singer. I'm not the world's greatest blues player. You know, I'm not any of those things. But I do all of them to a standard that I think, I'll get all of that. You know.
Well, I love it. I love it, and think it should be huge. And it's just one of those things. It's so amazing when you find music that is so deserving to be heard, and that you've put in all this work in the art and the craft, the passion, the love, the dedication, and then the trick is, how do you monetize it so you can make more? That's where it all gets kind of hard. But let's.
When I first started recording, when I first got a computer and I had the ability to actually record. Before that, I used a 4-track.
Sure.
Which obviously is a bit limited. But when I started doing it, I've lost my thread of what I was saying, actually. I can't remember. I kind of winged it. I was winging it, you know. But as time's gone on, I've learned about how to use the different effects and so on and so forth, and stuff like that. It's all a learning curve. The whole thing's a learning curve, you know, as you know.
It is. I didn't want to go. I did not want to go computers at all. I was using digital tape machines when I first started, and I had 48 tracks, and back then you had to worry about your track count. And well, we'd like to do this, but we don't have enough tracks to do that. And, all this stuff. So, as much as I miss some of the, as a blind person, as much as I miss some of the accessibility features that you had with the physical machines, I don't miss the track count problems. I don't, editing used to be a real problem because you had to do it. You had to do it by hand, and I mean, I did all that, but it was not fun. And if you messed up, that was it. I mean, it was over. So I love Control Z. It makes me very happy. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Whoops, Control Z, it's undone. Let's move. Tell us about the final song we're going to hear today, and give me any kind of any sort of preparatory information you want before we watch this video.
Okay, right. Well, I remember what I was going to say originally.
Oh, good. We'll do that first.
What it was I had a friend on Facebook called David White, who was a blues guitarist, and he kind of did for me what you do for me now. The fact that I was starting out and he gave me some advice. The advice he gave me, he said, if you want to succeed, he went, you need to be marketable. Like, think Kiss. And I was thinking, well, I don't want to think Kiss.
Yeah.
But I get what he means in the fact that I've adopted this kind of voodoo kind of, dark kind of thing. And that's my gimmick. You either like it or you don't. That's what I do.
Yeah.
But that's what I was going to say. Devils in the Detail was, I came up with that riff, that kind of ambient kind of little riff, and I built the song around that. Once the bass was in place, everything made sense. But it's one of those songs that I wrote a long, when I first got the studio, I did it, and then I remixed it, and obviously I've done it since then again with live bass, and I've tweaked it all, and I've put what knowledge I've picked up to make the mix better. But it's kind of one of my favourite songs that I've written because it's quite subtle. It's not particularly a punch in the face. It's just one of them songs I think you just sit back and kick back to. And the lyrics, I do a lot of I'm very much an observer. I'm a people watcher, I like watching people's different personalities and different things, and I accept them for who they are every time. But I just like watching people, and I've met people that aren't very nice, and I've met people that are absolutely lovely. And so I put all the lyrics. That was what the song's about. It's like, someone might come across, and at face value, they look like your best friend. But you learn the art of reading between the lines and looking at the devil's in the detail. Well, if he's talking about that person, to me in a detrimental way, what's he saying about me to that person? Do you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of what the song's about. And there's the line in it about some people have seen stuff that makes their blood run cold. And, that's obviously for the people that are living in countries that are bombs raining down on them. It's just day-to-day life. I mean, I couldn't even imagine living like that, you know? I mean, how horrific to wake up in the morning and find the house over the road isn't there anymore.
Yeah, it's hard to comprehend.
Yeah, so that's the devil's in the detail. It's that's my mellow moment.
This is my actual personal favorite, and it may be, it was either the first or second song of yours I heard, I think. But this is my personal favorite. I think lyrically, it's my favorite, and as you say, there's a lot of meat to this tune. There's some subtlety, but I really love this song. I may be misremembering, but I think this was the first or second song of yours I heard. So anyway, this is my personal favorite. We'll see if it's your personal favorite. We'll watch it and then talk about it on the other side.
Okay.
Without further ado, The Devil is in the Details by Mark Stone. One love.
Better
I mean, what a song! What a song! And
I'll have to,
man,
I'll have to send you the mix with the live bass on because it sounds a lot better now.
well, the harmonica is such a mean harmonica, man. It's so good. It's so good. I love the harmonica on that in particular, but I just love those lyrics. And I think we can all identify with I know I can. I love it. And I think the other thing that's so cool is you're juxtaposing this sort of spacey, ethereal guitar with this really gritty, dirty harmonica. And it's just beautiful, you know, the way you're letting the notes sink in, the space that you created. Because when I was, when you first start playing, you want to play all the notes. You know, the more notes, the better. You know, you would play all the notes. And you know, when you first start to play, you're hearing Van Halen and all this stuff, or at least for me. And you want to do all that stuff. But then, you know, then in the late 90s, I heard the album Miles Davis Kind of Blue. And the thing that struck me was how much space he left for you to like dig what he just did. He would play something, and then there was this space that you could just like, oh, I can really let that sink in. And you've got that going on this track. You've got space where you're able to really process what just happened, what cool thing you just heard. And that is a sign of a master craftsman. So I love that about this track.
Was when I was writing the lyrics for it, it flowed quite well. Once I got into the role of writing the lyrics, they were working out really well. And then you get that first break, and the line, "Some mother gave you lemons all day and then piss in your lemonade." And
that is my favorite line.
I'm not sure if I'm going to get away with this. And I thought about it, and I thought, do you know what? It's a good line.
It's a great line.
So yeah, I'm pleased with that. I mean, it's the only song I've got with profanities in it at the moment, anyway. But
yeah,
I try and steer clear of them because obviously it's not a good. If you want to get on the radar, it's going to cause you some problems, I guess.
You can always just reverse those words out.
Yeah, but I like the lines. I thought, I've got to keep that line in there. But yeah, I love that song. It's got a little special place in my heart. I mean, I love all my babies, you know, but that's just something about that one.
That is, as I say, that's my personal favorite. And I just love how, you know, what I love about it is you take this sort of trite notion of, well, when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. You're like, yeah, I did that, and then somebody peed in it. I think that's so great. You know, I just think like, you know, it got worse.
Well, you gave me when you heard that song, you said to me, look, you know, I'd like to. I'll give you a quote that you can use. You know, I'll tell you what I think of it, and I kept it.
Yeah,
you said what you said about the song, and I put it in my biography the other day. I mentioned.
I don't remember what I said. What did I say? You
said.
Oh, now you don't remember either.
This is one of the best songs. Along the lines of this is one of the best songs I've heard, and he was excited about the fact that you knew me personally.
Yeah,
that's true. It's written by a friend of mine. But I think the line I used from your quote was when you said about you've been in the business for so many years, and if you say you like it, it's a real comment. I just took that section out of it.
It's true.
I used it because it's
if I say I like it, I'll put it in writing.
Oh yeah.
So it's absolutely true. Well, listen, I mean, as I said earlier, you're not only a brilliant human being and a dear friend, but musically so gifted, and that brings us to what, you know, normally on this program, you're part of a team called Sparky's 100 Years of Experience. But it doesn't really work for you to be part of that team and talk to yourself. You can talk to yourself in private if you want, but we're not going to do it in public. So we're now bringing in Sparky's 85 years of experience to chat about the music we've heard today. So I'm going to turn it over to Sparky and
Hey.
let him bring that in.
Hey, can I just say that the two of you are absolutely TV gold, and Mark, I love you to bits. You have got your own style. You're voodoo blues. You're such a, unique character, and you're exactly what everyone should be. You should stand out and be your own person, But Joey, I've got 120 years actually, because Mr. Peter from Four Sound South in Africa is here as well. So I'm going to bring in.
I'm going to bring in number. Yeah.
Yeah, 120. I can't go down. I can't go down in numbers, can I? So there's Mr. Andrews. Let's hear your thoughts here, brother.
Well, okay. My thoughts. Well, I've had thoughts which are the same as Joey's thoughts, but I think that actually shows that we're probably right about it. And the one thing I've said before, and I've said it to Mark, and so I'm saying it again, and I'm just going to say this actually. I think Mark's music and Mark's performance, I say the same things about them more than I do about any other act that is part of the family. And the reason is because, for one, Mark puts a real stamp on all of his stuff. And when he does cover songs, you can still hear this is Mark Redbeard's story doing the song. And his visual imagery, which, okay, Joey can't see the visual imagery, but you know what that visual imagery is, the skulls and the voodoo and all this stuff, that goes with it. So you have your own brand there. So you've got the music style, which we can hear, and you've got the visual imagery, which goes with it. And it says, this is Mark Redbeard's story doing whatever the song is. So that's the one thing. And the one part of that, which is really important, which is what Joey has commented on a few times now, is the harmonica. The first time I think I heard you, I thought, I'm pretty sure I said that the harmonica comes out so well. And Joey said today, like Mick Jagger, yes, I agree with that. Mick Jagger, I love Mick Jagger's work all the way through from the early Stone stuff and right through till today. And the one thing he does, everybody knows, he's a dancer. He shows off on the stage. Sure, he does that. He writes good songs as well. Sure, he does that. And he also plays harmonica. And all of that is part of what makes Mick Jagger the star that he is. So that's the one thing that I wanted to say, and which Joey has said. And I've also explained the other thing, that you put your stamp on it. And you do everything. That's what has impressed me all the way through. You write the songs, you sing the songs, you produce the songs, you play all the instruments on the songs, and you give it that stamp, the Mark Redbeard story stamp to all of it. You can't beat it. And so that's what I wanted to say.
And that's real quick before we move on. I want to just say, for people watching, and I'm hoping that there are a lot of artists watching that are learning from every artist we have on the show and taking something away that they can use in their own career. And what Steve said is so important, because branding is key to success in this business. And it doesn't have to be complicated, but it does have to be well thought out. And you need to know who your music is for. And in branding terms, we call that targeting your audience. Knowing who your audience is, who wants to hear your music, and then you can figure out how to reach those people. And people can talk about the internet. There are good things about it. There are bad things about it. But one thing that is good about it and is positive is that once you understand who your audience is, then you dissect how you reach those people. You can communicate directly with your fans and create things that they will want to consume and want to be part of your journey and support you. So the branding element of Mark being Mark and putting his stamp on it is such an important point that Steve made. I will now go on to the next person, the 120 years of experience, but I just wanted to bring that up.
Well said, Joey. So from Steve in Portugal, Europe, to Peter in South Africa, Africa, to Darman in Malaysia, Asia, then back to Joey in North America, and that'll be the show done. So Peter, then Darman.
Mark, my brother. Sometimes I wonder, you say you live in London, but are you sure it's not somewhere in Louisiana?
I tell you what, Peter, someone was talking to me the other day. They commented on my stuff on TikTok. They said, "What part of the States are you from?" And I went, "I'm from the UK." And they went, "No, you're not." And I went, "No, I am. No, you're not." But
Because
I'm half Maltese, if that helps.
yeah, it might be, but it sure does not explain this voodoo swamp that you have in your sound, and it's dark, and it's not polished. It's rough and it's raw, but it's real.
Ooh.
That's a good point. There is a lot of swamp in Mark. That's a fair point. Well made.
And
Well,
I don't know where it comes from. I'll be honest with you. Right, it's nice to get compliments, and I do appreciate them, obviously. But I'm one of those people that it's not. I just do what I do. I don't think wherever these songs come from. I don't think they're all me. I think I just get inspiration from I don't know where from. So I don't like to take too much. What's the word? Like go, oh yes, thank you guys. I don't know where it comes from. I just feel blessed that it does come out. I just feel blessed. I feel blessed that I've got the ability to layer my music and do what I do and get it out there. And I never ever forget that I'm a lucky guy that I've got that ability to do that. I never rest on my laurels. Just keep moving forward all the time, doing what I do, staying true to what I do. And I do appreciate the compliments I get. I do really appreciate them. But you're only as good as your last tune, So,
hey, humbleness is key, isn't it? When someone's humble and they don't take it to their head, everybody just loves you more, So keep being you.
Real artists are that way. I mean, that's a sign of someone that's a real artist and in it for the art. Is the feeling of being blessed to do it and to just enjoy the fact that somebody else gets something from it. That's what you want. I mean, you're doing it because, and everybody on this show, I feel like makes music for the same reason I do, not because I want to, but because I have to. It's a compulsion. It's a good compulsion, but it's analogous to breathing for me. I have to make my music or I'm not completely who I am supposed to be. And Mark certainly fits into that same category.
Yeah, I think it was Hendrix said, there's a quote from Hendrix where he says, "I don't like compliments. They put me off my guard. Don't like them. Like, it's nice to get a compliment, but it's about the music and about how great a guitar. People say, "No, you're a fantastic guitarist. You're amazing. You're the best guitarist in the world." And I think the famous quote is that they said to him, "What's it feel like to be the greatest guitarist in the world, Jimmy?" And he went, "I don't know. Ask Rory Gallagher." Now I'm not sure how true that story is, but one of the things he said, "I don't like compliments. They put me off my goal. You get lost in them." But it's nice to get them, obviously. It's nice, but if you put a song out and someone goes, "Yes, right," you go, "Oh, be confident." love me.
Well said.
It's nice to get it.
Well said. Here, Mark, you've still got one more compliment from Malaysia over in Asia, Mr. Darren DeFleur.
Is it the genre king?
The genre king, yeah. I'd like to split this into a couple of parts, if you don't mind. I'd like to talk about Mark as a person, because that is very relevant to who he is as an artist. My adrenaline is really going. And then I'd like to talk about admitting that I was wrong about certain things to do with Mark, and I don't mind admitting that when I'm wrong as well, or whatever. And then finally end up with a little bit of a review of his music, and I apologize if that's going to be a little long. First of all, Mark as a person, I think he knows who he is. I sort of relate to him. I've gone through I feel like a kinship with him. Like I know where that dark thing is like. And what you got to do, you either cover from it or you reach out, you grab it by the throat and you look in his eyes and you say,
Yeah.
this is who I am. There's the light over this darkness. I'm going towards that light, but I recognize this darkness as well, or whatever, like, and then you use that, or whatever. So this is who Mark is, right? People who judge Mark based on what he's singing about, right, are just, and it's a common thing that people do, they judge people by the surface or whatever, like. Mark is a light, he's a golden light, right? And he's letting you in to show you the shadows, right? And he's showing you that you can face your fears, you can overcome them, and you can make them, you can use them in art or in life, because you can be more loving towards people. You can forgive people because you understand who you are inside or whatever. It makes you more of an empath, okay? And that's who Mark is, or whatever. Like, he didn't know me from Adam, and he sort of held me in his arms in a way or whatever, like. And I love that about him, like. So that's who he is as a person. And to my mistakes, right? I say I got about 35 years of experience. First of all, I underestimated how good his vocals were. Maybe because the tracks that I usually hear are so raw and strong or whatever, but I heard his Catfish Blues or whatever, and I realized what an amazing voice he's got, what an amazing range or whatever. And to be honest or whatever, I would like that range to be in more of his songs. That is an opinion of mine. I'd like him to vary that. And I would also like him, right, sometimes, and I've said to him before, whatever, on his Feed My Demons, I want to hear his pain a little bit more. I want it to be slightly more raw. Maybe towards the end of the song, I want him to scream or shout or do something a little bit more with his voice. Just go with the rawness or whatever, like. And I think you got it, mate. I think you got it. And I think you can push it that extra 5 to 10% that will, you know, really sort of pull me in to where your headspace is in. I think, yes, I just think you got that extra inch that you can go. And lastly, or whatever, like, that and the bass or whatever, I thought he was primarily a bassist. So my 35 years of experience is worth nothing there, because your bass line, no, but your bass line is so strong. I always listen, it's my bias as well. Keyboards are mine, and then bass. And I just love the bass so much or whatever. And your groove is so strong. I honestly thought you was a bassist, mate. So when you said you were in a band, I assumed you were a bass player. I didn't realize you were a guitar player. So
well, I'd
admit that.
Started off as primarily a vocalist. I was always a frontman vocalist. I didn't do anything
Right.
other than sing. Weren't the greatest, to be honest. But I'd worked on my voice, and then I just worked on everything, and eventually it arrived here. So, like I say, I'm blessed. You know, my brain led me to stuff.
Sorry, mate, I didn't mean to cut you off. And last thing I want to say about videos or whatever that I've discovered myself, because I started creating things. I thought they were a pain in the ass, to be perfectly honest, but there was something I had to do for YouTube. And if I had a still image, it'd be a bit of a waste, like. So I started getting stock footage, chucking it at the screen, and people started complimenting me. And then I'm going to get to why that it's become really important, and it's as important to the music to me now. I enjoy the process as much or ever. And the reason is you can tell a story, right? It's like, you could tell a story with the video as well. And sometimes there's only so much your lyrics can portray or whatever, or you can put an extra layer of meaning there or whatever, like. So I think videos are highly underestimated, and you're brilliant with it. Just to say to Joey, sometimes they're all like in red, right? Red and black. He's got lurid colors or whatever, like. Sometimes you seeing like silhouettes and it's all like black around him and everything. So he's got a real eye for detail. He got a real eye for like cinema in a way. I honestly, I think he's got the camera angles and the everything that he's doing in the videos. I just think he's got talent for it. And like honestly, if you stopped with the music and you say, right, you want to narrate like a poem or something, I'd be very happy listening to you narrate something and watching a video of yours or whatever, like, you know. So I want to say that both of your creative talents are as equally as strong. And that makes, when you consider that all the music you'd make it yourself, makes an incredibly well-rounded creative artist, full stop. That's where I'll finish.
Well said.
Absolutely beautiful. Yeah.
Well said,
Beautifully
Darman.
Darman. Yeah.
Well said, Darman, Peter, and Steve there. Joy has 120 years experience, so it's always going to take a little bit longer. But you know something, Darman, that extra 5%, if Mark could go from a house studio to a Macon, Georgia studio,
Absolutely.
3 stories, big, hey, accommodation sorted, Mark, get the flight money saved up, you know. I'll hand the mic back to Joy.
Yeah.
I'll hand the mic back to Joy, and that's been a great show, guys.
Oh, well, Darman was so eloquent and so beautiful there, and I appreciate everything you said. And just to reiterate, you know, in today's world where attention spans are lower than they ever have been before, because there's so many things competing for our attention, video is really key. I you know, it doesn't really affect me, but it is very key. And as you say quite eloquently, that there is that extra layer of storytelling that you can give with the video. So it is a wonderful talent to have, and I'm totally jealous of it. But I want to thank everybody, the 120 years of experience, of course, Sparky and my dear friend Mark for being on this episode of the Music Mentor podcast. Hopefully everyone has enjoyed getting to know Mark and learned something they can apply to their own career. And you know, we'll be doing this again sometime in the near future. So it's always a privilege and a pleasure to be here with Top Talent Promotion and to be part of that family and to be able to chat with all these amazing people. So Mark, as you know, I love you, my dear friend. And I'm so proud to know you, and the music's incredible. And hopefully you've just been exposed to a bunch of new people that are going to become devoted fans and just gobble this music up so you can make some more.
Thanks, Joey. And I'll tell you what, thank you so much for giving me your time today and your time listening to my mixes. I really do appreciate it.
It's my pleasure, brother. That's what I'm here for.
I mean, before Top Talent, I mean, just briefly, when the reason the videos work is because I spent 17 years as a black and white photographic technician.
I didn't know that.
So I got to learn to understand lighting and stuff like that. And I did a couple of album covers for a few artists as well, believe it or not.
Oh, cool.
And I did some journalism and stuff like that. But what I want to say is that previous to Top Talent, I was doing okay. It wasn't. I mean, it was okay, you know. But since joining Top Talent, I got to say I cannot praise Sparky enough.
Yeah.
For having the vision he's had. And you know, Joe, you know what it's like. There's a load of people out there think they're promoters. I've got one messaging me at the moment. Yeah, I've told her I'm not interested. I've got a promoter. I don't need a promoter. Oh, but I'm not interested. Yeah. But he's got a vision that I think he's truly. I mean, you get past the do we trust the situation thing when someone says, "I want to promote you," don't you?
Mm.
You know, okay, well, what are you going to do? But I've been in the family now. It must be a fair while. I don't know if it's a year. I don't know if it's that long. It might be longer. I don't know. But I know that since joining this family, I have not only broadened my fan base, which is what I wanted to do, but I've met the most amazing people like yourself, Joey, Mark himself, Peter, Steve, Darmin, Rich Chambers. You know, they're people that I consider friends, and the vibe I pick up is, I mean, this show tonight has actually made me feel I'm in danger of bursting into tears, to be honest with you, because it's been absolutely wonderful. It's been lovely to talk to everyone. But Sparky, seriously, man, I absolutely love you for your drive, your enthusiasm, and all the things you've done and all the things you've gone without in order to get your dream up there. Yeah, sure, we get praise all the time. We play a video, oh, you're great, you're this, you're that. But you're the guy who put it all together. And I'll never forget that. And you got my friendship for the rest of your life. So if you want to get rid of me, you're in trouble.
Well, hey, I have to butt in now before I forget what I need to say back to this, right? Mark, you're absolutely amazing. Both of you are comedy gold. You had me in tears for the sad side of things and the laughter side of things. And when you talk about other promotion companies and stuff, I look at the camera right in the eye right now and say, I'm a rival to nobody. Right, I'm not a promotion company. Do you know what I am now? A content creator. I make shows for people, right? So everybody can come on my shows. If you've got a record label, a studio, an agent, a manager, whatever, we can feature them here. We can promote them here. There's only one rule. You have to be a good person. In fact, there's a second rule. If you're me, after we meet you, we won't like you. That's it in a nutshell. But we're no rivals to anyone. So get in contact with that promotional company and say, hey, speak to Sparky. I'll promote their company on these shows, you know, or on the main shows. But this is Joey Stuckey Show. So the final compliment of the evening goes to Mr. Joey, the music mentor Stuckey.
Again, it's always a pleasure, my friends. And we'll be back again. Stay tuned. This is episode 4. We're looking forward to doing episode 5. And I just always appreciate everybody here. So until next time, go and check out Mark's story right now. You have nothing better to do. And if you do, you can put it on hold. And go check him out immediately. And we will see you next time for the Music Mentor.
Wow. Ciao, ciao.
Thank you, Joey.